Darkness, a peaceful and tranquil setting. Within it, the sounds of nature are at its purest, brilliant and uncontrolled. Sounds of life that are at the moment, for the moment. As the dark starlit sky begins to alter to colors of warmth, the sounds of night fade into the distance, as if to chase the night sky. Over the horizon, fresh sounds of life fade in, and the setting is new with a brilliant yellow sun. Our lives are filled with many images and sounds, some moving and blurred, still and sharp, bright and dark. Our senses deceive us on how complex these sounds and images are. They distract our attention from simple moments. If we take a single moment and look deeper than what's present on the surface, there is always a new discovery to be made. Maybe an invisible breeze that makes the leaves shimmer. The rhythmic ripple of water. The sun's light shining through gaps between leaves. The song of morning birds. The transition of colors of the evening sky. The drowsy impact rain has on us. This is nature in its purest form. With the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, we tend to forget the gentle and brilliant natural landscape. Multitasking, answering phones, discussing complicated plans, sitting in traffic jams. Where is a better place? What is a better scene? How do we escape the complicated present, the now, the stress? Maybe the answer is nature. But what is nature? Is it the bumper-to-bumper traffic? One look at a parking lot in Yellowstone and you might think you're at a theme park. Or is nature the place so far removed from our lives that we've forgotten its wonders? Nature is the place, the serene landscape that has had absolutely no human influence in its development, virgin in its existence. The question is there such a place on Earth? The first place we look to are national and state parks, but haven't they been influenced by humans? If these aren't the answers, why? Where do we look? On the dwindling frontier of forests, plains, and waterways lies a neighbor of 6.5 billion people. Every second, this population increases by 4.3. What are the limits? Where are these people going to live? How will the Earth sustain that number of people? Who will suffer and who will benefit? Most importantly, what will happen to the natural environment by 2042? The answers are not simple by any means, but humanity is adaptable, and better solutions are possible for both nature and society. Then what's the problem?
Perfection is possibly a desire of every citizen on Earth. Is there actual perfection in the solutions we decide on in our daily lives or as a global citizen? Perhaps. Perhaps not. No matter what we decide, there will always be drawbacks on society and the environment. The idea is to progress for future's sake. Progress is responsible for where we are today. If it weren't for the wonders of technology, you wouldn't be seeing images or hearing sounds of nature as you sit in front of the screen. We desire progress and enjoy what it provides. But what if we sacrifice to continue to acquire cool gadgets or have the benefit of faster internet browsing? Each time we make progress, we must adjust to it. But what happens to those objects we had to replace for advancement? Do you remember the first listening device you had? Maybe it was a record player or a tape player. For younger people, maybe it was an iPod. Whatever you started with, I'm sure you advanced with technology by purchasing better and smaller devices. Did you throw away the old ones because it crowded your drawers? No matter who we are, we collect artifacts because it makes us feel good or that we marvel at the technology. It's part of our being. For every object we throw away, we take away a part of nature. It's not only the objects we personally own that are changing nature, but it's the technology we use that invades nature. While watching this program, you're using technology. What is supplying the energy? Each frame you see, you're buying fossil fuel from nature. Within a 48-hour period, more than 30 cars of coal travel through a city to supply the demand of electricity. That shipment was chiseled out of the earth. When a coal mine is exhausted, it's gone, and more land is acquired to supply the demand. Removing trees and vegetation, relocating topsoil. Modifying the earth, in most cases, for personal reasons. Are we the #1 invasive species? Every acre we expand beyond the current limits, we change the world we know forever. It's a small point of no return in the grand scheme. What other human-made changes is there that set the point of no return? Population is rapidly increasing. The question is, how will we feed the future inhabitants of Earth? Urban centers increase in size each year, taking agricultural land that feeds the people of the city. Each field that is consumed to house a portion of the population removes the source of food for those residents. To compound problems, the expansion of cities creates a looming disaster: floods. If rain falls for extended periods of time and at high rates, flooding occurs due to compaction of soil from expansion and the removal of vegetation that would otherwise reduce the rate. When the rains stop, how will we deal with the lack of water? Dividing the water for both consumers and producers is a continuing debate where water resources are diminishing. Who decides where the hot commodity goes? Farmers, called producers, need water to support the population's food demand. But how do you ration out water to an increasing urban population and continue to have ample amount for crop production? In the West, the Colorado River has been divided by a series of dams to provide water supplies to different cities. With diminishing rains and the population on the increase in those cities, the Colorado River barely makes it to its original end at the Pacific Ocean. But the supply of water to cities is not the only problem. Human changes to the river system are causing ecological degradation. Colder waters released to manage flooding are causing the extinction of natural species.
What are the solutions to reverse the damage? How can we balance our need with the need of nature? If you've thought by now that this is a depressing situation, you're right. But the questions are presented as a warning. In the past, the warning has come in the form of a disaster. The Black Plague. 9/11. The Dust Bowl. Katrina. And Titanic. Do we have a false sense of security? Each disaster that we witness immediately changes the way we regard our natural environment. If a natural disaster doesn't occur for an extended period of time, do we become complacent? The Titanic disaster is an example of how we regard ourselves with nature. Superior. Prior to the demise of Titanic, the ship was labeled unsinkable. During that period in history, the Edwardian era, humans believed that nature could be controlled to benefit society. Today, some believe that by dropping a bomb into a hurricane to blow it apart before it does harm to cities is a viable answer. But think about it. Heat is the primary ingredient for hurricane formation. Is it possible to control nature for our benefit? Do we continue to work to find ways to prevent disaster through technology? Or do we come to grips with nature and find possible solutions that allow a better coexistence? And uncontrolled. Sounds of life that are at the moment, for the moment. As the dark starlit sky begins to alter to colors of warmth, the sounds of night fade into the distance, as if to chase the night sky. Over the horizon, fresh sounds of life fade in, and the setting is new with a brilliant yellow sun. Our lives are filled with many images and sounds, some moving and blurred, still and sharp, leaves. The song of morning birds. The transition of colors of the evening sky. The drowsy impact rain has on us. This is nature in its purest form. Bright and dark. Our senses deceive us on how complex these sounds and images are. They distract our attention from simple moments. If we take a single moment and look deeper than what's present on the surface, there is always a new discovery to be made. Maybe an invisible breeze that makes the leaves shimmer. The rhythmic ripple of water. The sun's light shining through gaps between darkness, a peaceful and tranquil setting. Within it, the sounds of nature are at its purest, brilliant